Okay, so we are on section 2.3. I wanted to go over this. I think for the remainder of this section, I'm going to concentrate, or the remainder of this chapter, I think I concentrate a lot more on um, your calculators. If you guys are understanding it without, you can do it without, but um, for your typical person, they're going to be using a calculator. Checking my battery. It's still going fairly good. Okay, so addition and subtraction of fractions. Now, if you're going to do it by hand, you always have to have the denominators the same. So if you have a pizza divided up into 8 pieces, say you have 3/8 plus 2/8 equals 3 plus 2, 5/8. So that's how much of the pizza I get. You get 3/8 of the pizza. That sounds fair. Okay, so addition of fractions. To add fractions with the same denominator, add the numerators and place the sum over the common denominator. So if you have b as your common denominator, your answer is going to have b. Your solution will be a plus c, or whatever your numerators are. Right here in the example, it shows 16 as being the denominator, and you have 5 plus 7. So you go 5 plus 7 over 16, and that ends up being 12 over 16. Now, they show you reducing it. If you do it with your calculator, it's going to automatically reduce it. Okay, which can be a pain in the butt if you're trying to figure out a fraction that's not reduced. And you might have to do it by hand then. Hopefully you'll remember. If not, having the reduced fraction isn't going to be a total loss. Okay, so we have 4 over x plus 8 over x. That equals 4 plus 8 over x. You have 12x. What does x equal? Doesn't tell us, doesn't really matter because we're just simplifying it. Before two fractions can be added, in yellow here, before the two fractions can be added, they must have the same denominator. You can't add them if they don't. Oops. Let's move that down a little bit so it's not, my head's not blocking. To add fractions with different denominators, first rewrite the fractions as equivalent fractions with a common denominator. The common denominator is the least common multiple. That's why we studied that a little bit. I'm going to show you how to figure out the least common multiple. Then I'm going to show you how to do it with a calculator. Ooh, this is what I was telling you about earlier. I knew it was in this chapter. Read this. Integrating technology. Some scientific calculators, which this is probably the most common scientific calculator. Like I said, they used it on tests at BSU. And yes, teachers, if you're studying for your teaching, you get to use a calculator. And a lot of us become calculator dependent, but don't worry, calculators will not be going away. If they do, we will be worried about far more than calculators. Some scientific calculators have a fraction key. This is A, B over C. That is this button right here. Right there. A, B, dash, C. Okay. Looks the same as this. So perform operations on fractions. To use the key to simplify an expression at the right, enter. So we're doing this 5/6 at the right. We enter 5 fraction button 6 plus 3 fraction button 8. And that adds them up. Now, 3 3/6 plus 5/8. So I want you guys to try this on your calculator. So let's go 5 fraction button 6 plus 3 fraction button 8. Oops, didn't have mine turned on. It's not that good a light out here anyway. So 5 fraction button 6 plus 3 fraction button 8. I'm sure there's some better term to use than fraction button, but okay, it equals 1u 5-24. That u just separates the whole number, which is 1, from the fraction, which is 5/2. All that dash means is this mark. When I was in high school, a lot of people liked putting it like this. A lot of teachers didn't like that, so go by your teacher's preference. Whoops, 24ths, not, yes, my calculator had 24ths, not 2, but, or halves. Okay, so apply the concepts. So now we have a whole circle 4 over 21 plus 7 plus 1 over 7 equals 4 over 21 plus 3 over 21. What they've done right here is they've made the equivalents. So before I go down here, I should, okay, so 5/6 plus 3/8. You have to find the least common multiple of 6 and 8. We do 1 times 6 equals 1 times 6 equals 6. 2 times 6 equals 12. 3 times 6 equals 18. 4 times 6 equals 24. Okay, so we're at 24. Then we go 8 times 1 equals 8. 8 times 2 equals 16. 8 times 3 equals 24. So we are at 24 on both denominators. Now, what did we do to them to make them go to 24? We had to multiply 6 by 4, so we have to multiply 5 by 4, so it equals 20. We had to take 8 and multiply it by 4 to get, or by 3 to get it to go to 24. So then we take 3 times 3 and we have 9. So we have a common denominator now of 24, and then we just have to add 20 plus 9 and we get 29. Now, I find using the calculator to be easier. Maybe not so much for this one but when you get into tougher and tougher, use your calculator. Okay, so on this one down here, it has, I'm not going to read all the stuff. You're adding 4 over 21 plus 7 plus 1 over 7. Now, 7 will go into 21 3 times. So you take 3 times 7. You don't have to multiply the 21 by anything to make it go to 21. So it's still going to be 4 over 21, which we have that right here, plus we make the 7 times 3 to get it to go to 21. So we multiply the 1 by 3. So we have 3 21s, which would equal 7 over 21, which they reduce it right here to 1/3. Now, you put this equation into your calculator. Calculator is going to give you this answer right here. It's going to give you the simplified answer. So let's enter this into our calculator real quick. 4 fraction button 21 plus 1 fraction button 7 equals 1/3. So it doesn't even worry about the 7/21s because it's going to tell you that what the fraction is in lowest form. So you don't have to do any of that. Okay, the mixed number is the sum. The mixed number 2.5 is the sum of 2.5. Therefore, the sum of a whole number and a fraction is a mixed number. So that's showing this over here. 2.5 equals 2 plus a half. So if we take 2 plus a half equals 2.5. If we go 3 plus 4/5 equals 3 4/5. When you go 8 plus 7/9, you get 8 7/9. Now we are going, we are using mixed numbers now. I'm going to show you how to do a mixed number into your calculator. Oops. Let's go. Okay, so this right here is this integrated technology portion is showing you what I am going to show you right now. So we go we go 5 plus, so we go 5. Then we go plus, we hit 4. Then we hit fraction button one time. That separates that 4 from the 2/7. Then we hit 2, and we hit the fraction button again, and we hit 7. So what that just made us, when we hit the fraction button the first time, it separated this 4 from the fraction. We hit it again, and it allows us to put in the fraction. 2 fraction button 7. So we have 4 2/7 plus 5 plus 4 2/7, and we have 9 2/7 is what I get on my calculator. And that is the answer that they have. And if you get confused, look at this right here. It shows to enter 3 5/5, you enter 3, fraction button 5, fraction button 8, plus 4, fraction button 7, fraction button 12 equals 4 7/12. And that is for the answer right here. Now, I'm going to give you a spoiler. The next parts of this chapter, I believe, are multiplication and division. I want you to watch those parts of this chapter because those are still important. But guess what? You now know how to add and subtract a fraction. You do the exact same thing for adding and dividing a fraction. Okay, so So it says evaluate x plus y when x equals 2 and 3/4 and y equals 7 and 5/8. So just plug those in. When you see x plus y, you just plug this in for x, this in for y, and you can do it all. You have to go back, watch it. Pause it and do the math. It's not hard. 9 fraction button 16 plus 5 fraction button 12. Okay, pause it and do the math. Pause it and do the math. Pause it and do the math. Okay, subtracting a fraction. You do subtraction the same way as you did division other than you're subtracting. So, if you already have common denominators, common denominator of 8, 5 minus 3, and that over 8. Okay, I'm going over these kind of fast now because you guys know how to do this. So, on how to 6, subtract 5/12 minus 3/8. So 5 and 8, 5, 8 ninths, and 2 and 5 6. Again, if you want to figure out the least common multiple of 9 and 6, you figure out the least common multiple, and that would be 18. You would do 5/16 minus 2 and 15 over 18. I myself at this time would be using my calculator. I've kind of been calculator dependent ever since college because actually ever since high school. When I was in high school, we might not have had this great of a calculator, but we still had scientific calculators. And the scientific calculators cover a lot of what we've covered in here. Okay, pause it, do the math. Pause it, do the math. Evaluate x minus y for x equals 7 and 2 ninths and y equals 3 and 5/12. If you ever get confused, just look back up there. You take 5, fraction button 2, fraction button 9. Or let's just do it over here. 7, fraction button 2, fraction button 9, minus 3, fraction button 5, fraction button 12. And it will give you the answer. Okay, so you try it, pause it, do the math. You don't have to hit the fraction button twice on this one. You do 5 fraction button 6 minus 3 fraction button 8. And you go, oh, see, they're doing it the long way. Okay. Pause it and do it. Okay. Pause and do. Pause and do. Okay, now we are at the end of section 2.3, concept check. Fractions cannot be added unless their numerator or denominator are the same. They cannot be added by hand unless their denominator is the same. And the calculator does all the same work for you. It just does all the work for you. It doesn't do them without making the denominators the same. It just does it for you. Let's see. Keep messing up there. Okay. Do the fractions. Do them all, guys, because this is important stuff that you guys do repetitive. Okay. Pause it and do it all. Now, you're going to find on number 15, did they tell you what B was up here? Nope, they don't say what B is. So they just want you to do, you got B the same on both. So you don't have to know what B is. You just have to do 7 plus 9 is 16 over B. Okay. Oops. Do the problems. Drive my head out of the way. Okay. Pause it and do the answers. Okay, do them. Pause it and do the answers. Oops, I didn't see where I was. Pause it and do the answers. Pause it and figure the answers. Okay, pause it and do the answers. 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 Okay, pause it and do the answers. Now, we're on to 2.4 right now. Let's see, how many more pages do we have? We're on 38 of 100, so they probably have more for us to do. I'm going to give you a spoiler. You can multiply the same way. You hit that numerator fraction button, the denominator, times or divided by, doing the same. I'm going to zoom down here real quick. This is concepts. There is difference in multiplication and division, so don't just think that you've got this all taken care of and now don't have to do this section. And the next one, introduction to decimals. Okay, so we're going to be doing decimals next. Oops. This is 2.4. Okay, so oops, now we're back to 2.4. We will get to this. Multiplication I find easier, and we will be getting into this. You guys have a great day and pay attention.